Hi, this is Red. My wife April and I are documenting our Aircrete home build.
And this is April. I run the channel, do the filming, editing, and respond to your comments and questions.
Today we will be revealing our home design, and we'll show you some drawings, a 3D walkthrough, and then discuss why we chose the design and the benefits of the design we chose. I'll start by giving you just a little history on where we're building the house and what we've done so far. So about a year ago we bought some undeveloped land. It was absolutely perfect. There's no wires or pipes coming into the property from any direction. It's truly an off-grid property. The first thing we did was to have a well drilled, and then we built out the well house. Then we built a barn that was open-sided that we could use as a shelter for our RV. It also doubles for storage, a workspace, and was the structure that we built our solar rack on, our solar panels on. And it also houses our solar room, so it houses our entire solar system. So we did go ahead and build the solar system. That's done. The last utility that needed to be completed was the septic system. I did that myself as well, and when that was completed, we started on the foundation work for the home. For the last 6 months, we've been living in an RV parked under the barn shelter that we made. While we've been working on the utilities, we've also been trying to settle on a home design. The first thing was to decide what kind of style of build we wanted to do. We knew we wanted to do a do-it-yourself alternative building method. And so after reviewing many, we settled on Aircrete as the choice for us. There are several reasons we chose Aircrete. First of all, it is a process that is do-it-yourself. A couple people working together can do it all by themselves. It's a fairly cost-effective way to build, fairly low cost, relatively speaking. And we loved several aspects of the durability of Aircrete that just can't, really be matched in a lot of other building methods. So first of all, it's very fire resistant. It doesn't burn. It's pretty much insect proof or completely insect resistant. It's rot proof, and it can have a very high R value depending on how it's built. So that makes it very energy efficient, and so area that we live in is a desert area. There's a risk of fire. Insects are horrible. We needed something with a good R value to be a comfortable home. We're looking at building a home that we don't have to put a lot of energy in to heat and cool. And so Aircrete fit the bill on all accounts. Another big advantage of Aircrete that I forgot to mention is the amount of labor that's required to perform the work and to actually build the home. It's much lower than some of the other alternative building methods that we were looking at. And that was very appealing to us. We wanted to be able to build it ourselves, just 2 people, in a reasonable amount of time without killing ourselves. And so Aircrete seemed to be a good solution for that. So once we decided that Aircrete was the material we want to use, we needed to decide on some of the specifics of the home design. And the first was to figure out the shape. Do we want to go with a traditional style home or something like a dome? We chose the traditional, so we'll be building a kind of a traditional box style home. And then we had to settle on the size that was right for us. We didn't want to build a home that was too big because, extra space takes up extra energy to heat and cool. And so we wanted something that was energy efficient and just the right size for us. We also decided that we wanted to build a simple home, so clean, simple lines, kind of a modern design. We didn't want a lot of extra fancy roof features or wall features, just straight walls. A simple slab roof is what we're going to be building. So just a simple structure, and part of that is so that it would be easy for April and I to build and won't take too long, and it'll just be a good functional structure and a functional shape. So the footprint of our design is 24 by 50. That's the size of the footer, and that gives us a 1,200 square foot home. So it'll be a 1,200 square foot house with 2 beds and 2 baths. The next thing we needed to consider was the orientation of the home on the property. We ended up orienting the long wall, the front of the house, due south, and that allows for the best use of thermal energy and passive heating and cooling. We also decided to build a simple, flat, low-pitch roof with an overhang in the front that has several advantages for us. That long overhang, it'll stick out about 5 feet in the front, and that 5 feet of overhang will provide shade in the summer months for the front of the house, which is that long wall that has all the windows. So in the summertime, large 5-foot overhang will provide shade, and the rays of the sun will never actually directly hit that side of the house at all, but it'll let in plenty of light. In the wintertime, the shadows will change, and the sun will be at a lower elevation, and so it will actually shine in directly underneath the overhang and into the windows of the house, and it'll bring all that radiant warmth into the house during the day, where the thermal mass of the house can soak up that energy and then radiate out that energy throughout the night. And so that's where we get our passive kind of heating and cooling, due just completely to the orientation of the house and the amount of overhang that we have on the front of our roof. In order to make the house as energy efficient as possible, we decided to go with good thick walls and good thick roof. So the walls will be 8-inch thick poured Aircrete walls and should have good R value, good thermal insulative value, and also some amount of thermal mass. The roof we plan to make out of a slab of Aircrete also, probably a lighter mixture with a higher R value, and we plan to build that 10 to 12 inches thick, so have a good, really good R value in the roof. It ought to be a good, warm house that serves us well in the hot and cool here in the desert. With these features, we're hopeful that in our mild climate, we will not need to add heat to the home to keep it warm in the winter. We know other people in this area that have energy-efficient homes, and they actually don't have a heater installed in their house. We don't think we'll need to add a lot of heat to our home in the winter, and we're hoping to be able to control the heat or control the cooling in the summertime through the use of a evaporative cooler, fans, and natural ventilation that we build in. We are also making accommodation for the possible future addition of a mini-split air conditioning / heater system. If we decide that we need it sometime in the future, everything will be ready and it'll be easy to install. Another consideration in the design was the aesthetic. And we like the modern aesthetic. We've just always liked modern or mid-century modern. And so we've always had it in the back of our minds to create kind of a modern home or a modern looking home. One thing that we really like about Aircrete is that it's a finished product. So when you build an Aircrete wall, that's the entire wall. When you pour a wall with Aircrete in forms, when you take those forms off, you kind of plaster the interior and exterior layer, maybe with the mesh underneath. But when you have finished that product, your wall is completely done. There's no other additional exterior or interior coatings. So that's how our Aircrete home design came together. It should be a house that doesn't require a lot of energy input to heat or cool, and we should be able to do it all with our solar system. At least that's the plan. As far as where we're at right now, we've just finished up completing the footer and putting the utilities into the pad. And so the next exciting part for us is going to be moving on to pouring the cement part of the pad. We're hoping to use Aircrete for that. We need to develop a recipe that we're going to use for the floor. We also need to develop a recipe that we're going to use for the walls and a different one for the ceiling. And there's going to be some experimenting that we're planning to do in order to get the data that we need in order to feel comfortable with the mixes that we end up using. So that's coming up next. We're going to be doing some experimenting on different Aircrete mixes. We're going to be kind of getting our feet wet in using Aircrete. And so as we're creating these experimental batches, we're going to be using the remainder of the batches to build a garden wall. And so that's what we're coming up next. As we go through this process of building this home using Aircrete, we also plan to keep good track of the costs and post those costs occasionally so that you can not only see how far we've got and how it's going, but how much it's costing as we go along in the build.
If you would like to see more of our house build and experiments with Aircrete, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and thank you so much for watching.